From Francis Ngannou's brutal tweet calling out the Gypsy King to Mike Tyson's shocking three-word prediction for the super fight, here's why Francis Ngannou slammed Tyson Fury. For starters, Ngannou's ready to kickstart his boxing career with a much-awaited fight against Tyson Fury. And this isn't a big surprise either, because over the last few years, the two heavyweights have always teased that they'd clash one day or another. And now, Ngannou has called out his rival on Twitter, saying, "Stop talking, Tyson, and come try. I'm already doing you a favor using your gloves and your rules because of your limited skill set." Is he underestimating the Gypsy King? Maybe, but let's not forget that Ngannou's rep as the best heavyweight in MMA. And when these two legends of the fight game clash, anything can happen. Plus, with Fury's contractual falling out with Alexander Usyk and Ngannou's UFC exit, it seems like the perfect time for the epic face-off. Because Ngannou's trying to book his boxing debut for a while now, and after he turned down an $8 million fight, he moved on to high-profile free agency, right before he finally signed a deal with UFC's biggest rival, PFL. But while his MMA future seems certain, he still hasn't begun his boxing story yet. Ngannou left the UFC hunting for high-profile boxing match, which basically meant fighting the Gypsy King. And while he's at it, he's also been linked with other fights against Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. While these two fights might seem like a stretch right now, there's been a whole social media war between the Fury and Ngannou, and both of them seem confident they're gonna overpower the other. While Fury claimed he could knock out his rival after a night at the pub, it sure rubbed Ngannou the wrong way, who then fired shots back at the Gypsy King, saying Tyson should show him what he's made of in the ring. And let me tell you, even Fury needs this fight right now, because especially after how negotiations went down with Alexander Usyk, Fury hasn't even fought since December 2022, so he's trying to book his return to the ring anyway. And what better way to do that than to give the fans exactly what they want, a 12-round showdown against the Predator. However, UFC President Dana White decided to add a little plot twist to this story by offering a fight with Johnny Bones Jones. That's right, John is the same fighter who won the heavyweight belt that Ngannou vacated after his UFC exit. But if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that Ngannou isn't gonna let the Fury fight slip right between his hands. I mean, after being tied down by his UFC contract, a fight with Fury seemed nothing less than impossible. This time, he's gonna make sure it becomes a reality. In 2022, back when Ngannou and the UFC were still a thing, White shot down the idea, claiming he's not a fan of crossover fights, and this was nothing more than a waste of time, energy, and money. I gotta admit, his hatred for crossover fights was pretty surprising, because the UFC president was the one who organized a boxing match between the face of the UFC, the notorious Conor McGregor, and boxing legend Floyd Mayweather in 2017. But he claims it's because the Floyd-Conor fight was backed up by all the hype. I mean, everywhere fans were asking about it, the media was all up in it. So much so that Dana just had to see through his hatred for gimmick fights. But if that's the case, isn't there a lot of hype for a Fury Ngannou fight too? Of course there is, but it seems like White just chooses to ignore it. Think about it. Francis isn't really a traditional boxer, so every fight is a big fight for him, and if there's one thing we know about him, it's that he never backs down from a challenge. On the other hand, Tyson's achievements in boxing speak for themselves, so you know any fight with him involved is gonna make a whole lot of cheddar. And the icing on the cake. Apparently, Fury wants to take the fight up a notch. His stipulation? Queensberry rules, 4 ounces gloves inside a cage. And who's officiating? Well, glad you asked. It's Iron Mike Tyson. Now who doesn't want to see that? Plus, it's not like Fury has any upcoming fights other than this one either. If he's as good as he says he is, he shouldn't back down from a quick cash grab against the Nigerian. But here's what fans hate about the Gypsy King. He creates a lot of hype for the big fights, only to back down last minute and shifting the blame on someone else entirely. So fans know that he's not the most predictable boxer to set up a fight with. Let's not forget how his negotiations went down with Joshua and Usyk. At one point, it seemed like he didn't want to fight at all, but just wanted to get out of it without being the bad guy. So he'd send in unpredictable demands or new contracts with ultimatums, forcing his opponents to end the deal right there. And it won't be a surprise if he does the same to Ngannou, because at the end of the day, it's all about the money. And if there's a Fury versus Ngannou fight coming up, there's no doubt that it's set to be the biggest payday for both fighters. With all due respect to White, Wilder, or any of the men Fury has faced recently, there's absolutely no one on the Brits' resume who carries anything even close to the wow factor that could come in with a showdown against Ngannou. Even imagining the two of them in the ring creates instant buzz, and any headline gets millions of views, all because now fans are desperate to see a fight like this. Just think about it. A crossover bout between welterweights Mayweather and McGregor raised over 4 million pay-per-buys in 2017. And that was just after 2 years of Mayweather's retirement. That said, you shouldn't be surprised if I say a fight between active heavyweight bombers is going to generate a lot more revenue than that in 2023, which is exactly why Ngannou's chasing Fury. If you ask Fury, he said it's going to break all pay-per-view records in the US, and honestly, he wouldn't be wrong. Not to mention, Fury and Ngannou could use that kind of publicity for themselves right now too, because the Cameroonian fighter has been trying to kickstart his boxing career ever since his UFC exit. Let's face it, Francis is eyeing Tyson more than anyone else, and even if he'd be interested, top heavyweights like Usyk and Joshua already got other opponents lined up. Plus, a bout with Tyson would be the perfect fight to introduce the former UFC heavyweight champion to a crowd far beyond the scope of anything he's already performed in front of. I mean, even if we're talking about Wembley Stadium, which by the way seems to be Tyson's favorite spot, there's at least over 94,000 fans in attendance, which was an all-time record. And don't even get me started on the career best paycheck either. Talk about Tyson's knockout win over White. That fight got him about $30 million, while White got $7.4 million for himself. Sure, Ngannou's been one of the best stars for the UFC, but he knew when it comes to money, there's a lot more left to explore. And let me tell you, there are already predictions coming in for the big fight. Starting with Mike Tyson, who gave a shocking 3-word prediction, "You never know." That's probably the best way to go around the super fight, because with the top heavyweights up against each other, it's unpredictable. Sure, Francis is a great fighter, but boxing is a whole different ballgame, especially when you're up against someone like Tyson Fury, who's already ruined a bunch of careers in the ring, and he's not afraid of ending another one. You see, Tyson can surprise you before you know it, and he's known for his knockout wins. On the other hand, all Francis needs to do is land the right punch at the right time to put them to sleep. But the Gypsy King isn't the kind of boxer who'd step down so easily either. All in all, there's no doubt it's definitely going to be a big payday. But it seems like only time will tell how this is going to work out for the two fighters. Before setting your hopes up, you might want to wait for the negotiations to start first. Who knows? If Tyson wants to step out of the fight last minute, he's going to pull out a list of impossible demands, which Francis might not agree to either. I mean, we've all seen how he's rejected one deal after another, all because he knows what he wants, and he's not ready to compromise either. So there you have it, from Mike Tyson's shocking 3-word prediction for the super fight to Francis Ngannou's brutal tweet calling out the Gypsy King. That was why Francis Ngannou slammed Tyson Fury.